Mixed martial arts are among the most popular sports in the world today. They are also some of the most dangerous. This is my top 5 worst injuries for 2019. Number 5, Alex Overeem. Making his Bellator debut in October 2019, Alex Overeem received a flying knee from Luca Ceschetti that resulted in one of the worst ocular injuries we saw to date at the time. The knee landed with such force and so flush that it instantly rendered his eye useless for the rest of the fight. It was subsequently called because of that. Big ups to Alex for walking it off and getting better. Number 4, Albert Gonzalez. Back in September 2019, Albert Gonzalez was facing Tyson Miller and went to deliver an inside leg kick that Miller checked and subsequently shattered Gonzalez's shin. When I say shattered, I mean completely and utterly snapped in two, like jelly. We saw an injury identical to this to none other than Spider Silva, Mr. Anderson Silva himself, one of the greatest to ever fight in the sport. A truly devastating injury. Gonzalez made a full recovery and subsequently got a Bellator contract. Definitely not a way you want to do it. But big ups to Albert regardless. Number 3, Cowboy Cerrone. Now this one has a little bit of controversy behind it because it could have been a late hit that set the injury off, or at least that's what fans thought. However, the elbow delivered by the boogeyman himself, Tony Ferguson, is what blew Cowboy's orbital up. Huge props to Cowboy for pretty much just saying, hey, I can keep fighting. I can keep fighting. I can keep fighting. Unfortunately, the match was called to the dismay of both fighters. Cowboy profusely apologized to the fans, said, this isn't me, I can keep going. Even Tony Ferguson, at the end of the fight, came over to say that this is not how he wanted to win, and that if Cowboy wanted to run it back, Tony would be right there. Those two are some of the best that UFC has to offer and that currently fight in the sport. Love both of those guys. But Cowboy's eye injury is that high on the list at number 3 because goddamn. Number 2, and the most recent on the list, belongs to Alistair Overeem. If you're familiar at all with the heavyweight side of the UFC and mixed martial arts in general, they are not ones to let fights go longer than 2 to 3 rounds. We very rarely see a heavyweight bout go full 5 or full 3, depending upon where it is in the card. This heavyweight fight was such the antithesis of what we were going to expect. You saw 2 gigantic humans picking each other apart in very tactical ways. The fight could have gone either way, but in the closing 4 seconds, Razan Strick turned it up and, for lack of a better term, tried to tear Alistair Overeem's face off with a right hand from hell, and damn near succeeded. Before we give you the number 1 spot, make sure you're smashing the subscribe button, make sure you're dropping a comment, make sure you're hitting the like button, make sure you're subscribing to all of the link channels that are over here on the right hand side of my main page, specifically the Lad MMA. That is a channel that me and my buddy Warren are curating weekly. It's full of live stream fight companions, it's full of technique-based analysis, it's full of some really, really awesome stuff that we're putting together for you, the fight fans. So make sure you're subbing to that channel and this one to get all of the really cool stuff we got going out there for mixed martial arts, for filmmaking, and everything you guys enjoy. Now, to number 1, Platinum Mike Perry. If anybody out there was watching the fight when this was going down, it is one of the craziest bouts I've seen since I started watching mixed martial arts. But there's something about Platinum Mike Perry that's just a little bit special. This happened in the latter half, I believe, of August 2019 against Vicente Luque. Now, these guys were trading the whole entire fight, and it wasn't until the last round where things sort of swung in Luque's favor when he delivered a thunderous knee flush to the face of Mike Perry, shattering his nose. Now, that's not the reason this is number 1. The number 5 injury is a result of a knee to the face. This is why this is number 1. After the knee to the face, it went to the ground, and Vicente Luque sunk in a cinched tight guillotine choke. One that would have probably made just about anybody else in the weight class tap, except Platinum P. Mike took it upon himself to find a very interesting way out of this guillotine choke. If you look at the fight, you'll see Mike trying to wrench his neck and head out of the hold, and using his own blood as lubricant, forced his nose to the side of his face in order to get out of the choke. Let me repeat that. Mike Perry relocated his nose to keep from getting choked out. What the hell, man? The picture that will correspond to this particular part of the video is one of the more shocking things I've ever seen. More shocking than Alistair Overeem's lip from last night. Platinum P, you're a legend. That's going to do it for my top 5 worst injuries of 2019. Boy, oh boy, there's been some maulings out there. And I just want to give it to these athletes who keep going and keep moving forward in the sport. And not only do you keep moving forward, you allow others to keep moving forward. Even though you sacrifice your bodies every single time we see you, you're making waves for the future. You're making headway for those who would come behind you. And for that, thank you for your sacrifice in the octagon. Lastly, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button for both here and the Lad MMA. We post weekly on both of those channels, so make sure you're hanging out with us. This weekend, we've got Covington versus Usman for UFC 245. Make sure you're tuning in. It's going to be a wild one. Thanks for watching.